Yep, it's another steamy day in the deep south of Alabama. Oh, hey there, Spooky. How are you this morning? Are you okay? Sitting out here relaxing with your little sister, Speedy. Well, Speedy, what are you saying? Are you enjoying the shade? Relax. It is? Spooky, is it actually International Kitty Day? Really? Okay. Yeah, I believe it is. Well, hello there, friends and family. Pardon my appearance today. But yeah, it's another hot, steamy, and sultry day in the deep south of Alabama. Yeah, it was overcast. And I thought, we'd take a walk through the gardens and the plantings and talk about a few things. And then, like always, the sun pops out. And it goes from being almost pleasant to downright miserable in the blink of an eye. But we're not going to let that stop us. Let's take a walk anyway and see how my gardens grow. And maybe you'll share how yours are growing in the comments below the video. Okay? Spooky, you gonna come with me? You gonna come with Papa? Or are you gonna just stay in the shade? Okay. Yeah. Well, since we're here with the blueberries, we'll just discuss them very quickly. As you can see, we still have plenty. They have produced and produced and produced and produced. I guess you can say you never can have enough blueberries. But then again, like all good things, too much can become a bad thing. But they're still tasty. Cleo, you finally made it, huh? Well, it's your day. It's International Cat Day. Okay. You're Papa's queen. Yes, you are. You're my queen. Yeah. Well, Cleo made it. And if we can get all these berries off, between me, the birds, and letting them dry, like raisins, so we can spread them out across the countryside. Hopefully they'll germinate, take root. I need to check on the ones put out last year in a few areas. I really never have gone back. And as you can see, there's a lily bit up in the window. Yeah, you'd think she'd want to come out. Well, you'd be wrong. She doesn't. Oh, we got to mow. But we were really busy last week. And, we never just got around to it. We're going to have to get around to it this week. It's getting up high. We might even have to bale hay. Oh, but here's the little old fig bush. I would say a fig tree, but it's really never aspired to be a tree. We still got plenty of figs coming on, as you can see. Oh, I've enjoyed a few. The birds have enjoyed it. Oh my Lord, look at here. Look at here. You're just in time. You see that, don't you? Right there. This one's definitely ripe. Just slipped right off. This one is getting there. But if you don't mind, I'm going to enjoy this one. Oh yeah. This is yummy. Yep. Surely is. It's sort of got a strawberry, light strawberry citrus type taste. Excellent. Pardon me again. Hate to talk with my mouth full. Oh yeah. But, see, I get one, and here was one that I should have probably got yesterday. Now the birds have got it. Well, that's okay. We have to share with our feathered friends, don't we? If I was looking, which I didn't, I probably could have devoured that one yesterday too. Oh, and that's about how this here pig enjoyment has been going this season. One for me, one for the birdies. Can't complain. You guys coming? As you can see behind me, there's Spooky cleaning up. Cleo's there in the mids. And way back in the back is Mr. Gray. In case you ever wondered if they followed me around. And yes, they do. Oh, we got to put some more bird seed out. Yep. They're done. Lick the feeders clean. Yeah, with the help of squirrels. Then we come to our first vegetable planting. And we talked about this the last time we were doing a garden walkabout. And that's been a while. Probably better than 2 weeks ago. And I was pretty sure this had a cucumber mosaic virus, and I'm still pretty sure they do. And I treated it with hydrogen peroxide spray. I treated it with copper fungicide. I treated it with aspirin, 3,000 milligrams per gallon. And it's still surviving. It's still producing. As you can see, there's a fairly decent looking cucumber. The new growth that has been coming out on the ends of the vines looks fine. Now, when cucumbers, as other vegetables, get diseased, their fruits will start to look a little wacky. You know, like this one. All curved. You see another one right over here. It's got that curve misshapen. So I don't know, even though this the newer ends of the vines aren't showing any proliferation of the disease. There's a dead cucumber right there. The cucumbers it's producing are not all that attractive. Now there's one there that looks like it should. So who knows? It's not hurting nothing to leave it over here and let it continue on. You can see the leaves are slightly different. This was the leaf pattern it had. Now it's got this leaf type pattern somewhat going on. Don't match. But they're nice and green. You see right up in here, there's another cucumber, and that looks rather normal. Now production has fell way off. Like I say, many of them have died. This one here is dead too. Yeah, it was all misshapen. There's another misshapen one up in here. But then there's one that looks more normal. And then we have one right up here that looks more normal. As well as the ends of vines looking all healthy again. So did I cure the disease? Or is it just fooling me? Well, only time will tell. Here's a very small cucumber. Nice and straight too. Which is how they normally would be. So a lot of them died, the cucumbers. You can still see all the old mottled leaves. I'm going to let it grow. And we'll see how it progresses. After y'all leave for the day, I'll come out and pick all the dead roots off. And they will be composted. And then we walk over here to the northeast side. And we see you know, we have another cucumber planting. This is our pickle bush from Haas. And you can see the little splotches of yellow in the leaves. Yep, it's been fighting powdery mildew. And based on this pattern of these segments itself getting yellow, I'm thinking it's also had downy mildew. That's different from powdery mildew. Yep, and we've been spraying it too, trying to keep it at bay, but it's hard with it raining substantially in the late afternoons throughout the evening hours every other day. But we have little baby pickle cucumbers. And the okra, we've been getting okra pretty much every day. And it would appear we need to pick some today. In fact, yeah, since I've been busy doing other things, you know, appointments and that, as I spoke about in an earlier video, some of them are getting a little bit, maybe too long. And I don't know. Looks like we may have enough just for a mess. That one there might have gone just a touch too long. But what, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4 okra plants there. And I get, within 2 or 3 days, I have enough to, you know, have a couple of nice side dishes. Yeah. None to put in the freezer, but that's okay. And I eat it fresh too. Here's some more of those pickle bush from Haas cucumbers. And you can see that same pattern forming on the leaves, which is different than what was happening on the cucumbers just right around the corner. That's why I'm thinking this may be downy mildew. Now I know I've had powdery mildew too, I've seen it. But look at here. Now there's a pickle. We'll have to pick that off this evening. Yeah, I've been having a pretty good harvest of cucumbers. And I'm having to come up with imaginative ways to use them. As you saw in our last cooking video, spicy beef and cucumbers, which I might add is quite tasty. And something else I've been seeing with the cucumbers I haven't seen in years past. Not for a while anyway, and you'll notice the dead and dying leaves of one vine up here. But if we follow the vine down, it's alive down here. You know what's happening? Well, I'll show you. You see right here, you see this here pussy substance coming out of that vine? It's ate slapping too. You see that? Right there. Yep. Something has come, most likely a caterpillar of some type, and chomped right through that vine. And there's another little cucumber right up there. There's several in here. So we're not going to be going without cucumbers. We'll have either salad cucumbers or we'll have pickling cucumbers. But we'll still have cucumbers. And I don't know about you, but the flower of the okra is simply beautiful. Is it not? Sort of makes you wonder why people don't plant these around their house more often, you know, as an edible, decorative landscape. You know, that's actually a thing. Yeah, it is. But overall, this planting's doing fine. Giving me plenty of okra, and will soon give me plenty of cucumbers, I'm thinking. Oh, well, as we head on up near the bamboo forest in the blazing hot sun, Yeah, we had one of them there pumpkins left over that we started from seed, and we stuck it up here just to let it randomly run either through or along the bamboo forest. And it's still growing, and it's still heading northwest, but overall doing fine. Hasn't really had an issue yet with the powdery mildew or the downy mildew, which pumpkins like squash and cucumbers are all affected by. I also had to find a home for the one cherry basket seedling that survived, so I stuck it here too, along the edge of the bamboo forest. And I'll put something around it to help support it as well, or I may just let it take its natural course of action. Yeah, and let it bind and go where it may. Uh-oh. And we've had these everywhere. I don't know if you can see it. Right there. Another darn baby army worm. Pardon me, folks, but he's got to be detained. Yeah, army worms, well, caterpillars in general have been a real nuisance this year. Let me show you something I've never seen before. Maybe you haven't. I want you to look close. This is a little oak seedling next to a bamboo. I want you to look right here. Can you see them? See all these little caterpillars? Not sure what they are, but if you take a look, they have pretty much defoliated that entire little oak seedling. Where they'll go from there, I don't know. Since I've never seen these before, I thought I would just keep an eye on them. There's plenty more oak seedlings here, and eventually, you know, they'll metamorphosize into a moth, I'm sure, or maybe some kind of butterfly. I don't know. If you look closely at that one, he keeps shaking his head back and forth like he doesn't want to be on video. But you can see how they totally defoliate this here larger oak seedling. And let me show you how many are here, just so you get an idea. You see that? There are literally hundreds of them on this here small oak seedling. And here again, I'm not sure what kind of caterpillar they are. I'll have to look it up later, because I just noticed these this morning, and I've never seen them before in my days. If you have, let me know in the comments. And over here, these are our celebrity tomato plantings, and they're doing really fantastic. They've too had their struggles with Pretoria leaf spot, blight, and if you take a close look, you'll see a lot of stripped leaves here. Nothing left but the center stem. See it? They're all over the place. Yeah, I spent the better part of yesterday picking off hornworms. In fact, in all my days, I'd never seen so many hornworms. And these are tobacco hornworms. There's two types of hornworms. One's actually a tomato hornworm, but these particular ones are tobacco hornworm. But to me, they're a tomato hornworm. Not scientifically, but in my mind, because they're eating my tomatoes. You see what they can do? I didn't see them in the morning, and on my late afternoon check, I saw them. And this is the damage they've done in, say, less than a half of a day. And I just saw another one. I could have swore I got them all. You see him right here? See? And he's about to consume those blossoms that would become tomatoes if left be. So we can't have that. So pardon me. I went from having one or two several weeks back, and pretty much that's all I had. I'd see one or two every now and then. Till, like I say, yesterday, I had an explosion. They're everywhere. And these tomato plants are now well over my head. And I've decided not to continue to string them up. I'm going to let them droop over, because I'm going to try to limit having to use a ladder on things. I already got to use ladders on my beans, which are over 8 feet tall, and my cucumbers, as you've seen. The beans, well, other than the fact they've been eaten by army worms, as you can see evidence right here. And I spend time picking them off as well. You get up in here and you see a lot of droppings from them. See all the little black specks? Yep, caterpillar poop. And I get on a ladder and I get up here and I pick and I pick and I pick. Not picking beans, picking army worms. But we are getting some beans. Not a lot, but some. There's some up in there. There's the one right here. There's more. If you go looking in through there, there's a little one right there. And we eat them fresh. We pick them right off the vines while we're out here doing our walks and our checks. And we munch down on them. I like them. There's one right there. I'll cut them up and mix them up in a salad. Another one down there. So yep, I got to get to picking. There's a nice one. Whew, may have more in here than I thought. But you don't want to let them get too old, or production will stop on your bean vines. That's a fact. You can see here more damage from the army worms. And let me show you one. He's right there, rolled up, trying to hide. See him? Yep. Yep. Sadly, he had to go to sleep. But that's what we're faced with. And I bet there's another one rolled up right here. Yep, there you go. There's another one. And that's what we do. We search around, we start looking for those curled up leaves. And sure enough, inside will be a worm. But overall, the bean planting has grown to an amazing height. quite thick, and I'm sure loaded up with beans. We're just happy it's alive. Our Shusitsu pepper, doing fine. Plenty of peppers all up through there. You see them all? I hope you can. Or maybe this is a shishito. I'm trying to learn the pronunciation. And it's supposed to be a sweet pepper, but I have also been told it's a hot sweet pepper. Yeah, by one of you, our viewers, that grew it before. Yep, I threw down some cardboard here, because when I mow, I'm going to be throwing down some grass clippings on top of it. Trying to keep down the weeds. Ooh, look at this here squash plant. It's looking marvelous. And this was another table A squash from Haas Tools. And I don't see a squash on it yet. I see blossoms. Plenty of blossoms. But it looks fine. It's had some issues just starting out with the powdery mildew, but we hit it early with the H2O2 spray, and that seemed to have knocked it in the head for now. Remember, the hydrogen peroxide spray that I use is not a preventative. It just kills it. And I mean, like with anything, you can kill it today and it can come back tomorrow. Trust me, it can. And we got our sort of orphan pumpkin vine here, also growing in where we normally dump our spare veggies that go bad. Hence this pile right here. Yeah, we're letting it grow out of the compost pile, basically. That's where we planted it. Oh, look at all these beautiful purple flowers. Once again, I'm not sure what this stuff is, but it is pretty. And if you need a ground cover, as you can see, this is what it does. That's about as high up as it grows, about 6 inches, maybe 8. And then it's going to run along the ground. And it's fairly drought resistant. I used to know what it was. I'll have to look it up. Well, if you need a ground cover, even though it will take over your entire place, yeah, that's chamber bitters. Another lovely invasive species man brought to the deep south. Oh, yeah, once upon a time I had none in my yard. Now they seem to be everywhere. But we're over here at the little old raised bed. And this here zucchini plant has struggled with the powdery mildew. And you may be able to see the gray coloring on several of its older leaves. Well, at the moment being 2 days ago, powdery mildew was dead. Of course, it's rained since then, so it may be coming back. The newer leaves don't show any mildew on them. And I need to head back to Walmart because I've pretty much used up all my hydrogen peroxide. I dug up one of these plants and stuck in a pot. I may try bringing it inside this winter, just for a little greenery and a little color in the kitchen. I truly do like that color. It reminds me of the color of lilacs that used to run along the front porch of my great-grandmother's home in Johnsonburg, Pennsylvania. That was a long time ago. But some things we miss in the garden. And if you've ever grown zucchini, you're going to understand. You can see it right here. We got that mega zucchini. Yeah, I just sort of forgot about it. I think there's going to be enough there to feed about 8 people. Or make many loaves of zucchini bread. Who knows what I'll do with it. But it's a fine looking zucchini, to say the least. Well, we're still producing zucchinis. Even our cherry tomato over here, the black cherry tomato, has seen the wrath of the hornworms, as you can see. Here again, this was stripped clean in an afternoon. And they'll go for the young, tender leaves first. They'll eat the blossoms, the leaves, down to the stems, as you see. And then they'll eat the tomatoes as well. And there are plenty of tomatoes here. And we've been enjoying a few here of late. And we hope to enjoy many more. Well, if the worms will share. That's one thing I haven't done this year. I haven't used the first bit of insecticide. And I'm trying not to. Just hand pick things. Spend my time out here with the feathered friends, my furry friends, and my leafy friends. Now this lunchbox pepper here, it got infected by, I'm 100% sure, it's pepper mosaic virus. See, mosaic viruses, they infect many types of plants. Cucumber, beans, there's bean mosaic, cucumber mosaic, pepper mosaic. Yeah. Mosaic virus loves a lot of things, all in the wrong way. And from what I've read, it's spread by leaf-sucking type insects. Such are the kind aphids. And there's others. There's thripes, spider mites, yeah. But everything I've done to this plant, nothing's cured the virus. The leaves are still mottled, still misshapen, and it's not going to bear any peppers. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try something else. I'm going to come down here where you see it sprouted some new leaves out of the very center stem, and I'm going to whack it off and see if new growth starting way down there will come back without the virus. I doubt it, but it's worth a try. Now, the bell peppers, they're finally coming on. See one right here. You see another one in there. Yeah. You can see small ones here. There's more up in there. And these are now 4 feet high. Plenty of blossoms, as you can see. Let's look down in here and see what we can see. Oh, look there. Now that's a fine one. It's as big as my hand. Well, it's as long as my hand is wide. That's mighty nice, homegrown green bell pepper. And there's some more up throughout there. So yeah, not only did the green bell peppers survive, or are surviving, the massive drought and heat wave of 2022, we're getting some peppers too. Fan-o-tastic. Now I'd planted, to cut off ends to my green onions down here. You'll see one right here. But I will say this, and I think it's just been the heat. There must have been about 24 down through here, and they're currently, and they all started to sprout up anew, but all now but 3 have died. And I think that's all going to be heat stress related. Yes, I do. I mean, there's just wrong times of year to do things. We all know that. My little pot of garlic chives doing just fine. We still got to find a home for our 2 Waltham butternut plants that finally came up. And right here, you'll see some little grayish white spots on these leaves. Yeah, that's powdery mildew too. And I know Walthams are susceptible to it, because I've had Waltham butternut plants before, and they don't like powdery mildew. And that's something to understand. Some varieties of some types of veggies are more tolerant to certain disease, funguses, and viruses than others. Now, I don't know if you can see it, but what has happened to this leaf on this Waltham butternut plant, it's twisted around like a candy cane. That's the first for me. And the leaf, of course, is deformed. This one's looking fine. This one's looking a little funky. May not make it. Yeah, overall, bell peppers are coming on to their own. Looks like we're going to have a fine crop, as long as we keep the water to them and keep monitoring for caterpillars, because they love them too. Now, the last pepper plant we want to talk about, even though it don't look too pretty, is this here Gypsy pepper plant. You can see she's a little bit spare for leaves. It's been having a lot of leaf drop, struggling with Pretoria leaf spot, even though we spray once or twice a week. Still living. And you can see there's 2 peppers down there, and they both turn nice and bright. Well, this one's nice and bright red and firm, and I've been saying I was going to pick these peppers, but I didn't know much about Gypsy. And if you look at the little tag, you'll see they're displayed as yellow, yellow-orange, orange, and red. So I wanted to know whether Gypsies were like green bells. You know, you can get orange bells, red bells. Well, red bells are actually the ripe green bells. Yellow bells, yeah. But the way a Gypsy works is the first stage is yellow, then they go yellow-orange, then they go orange, and when they're fully ripe, they go red. You can see this one right here has still got an orangey tint to it. It's orangey red, where this one's fire truck red. But I do know these are going to be nice sweet, and they're going to be excellent if I want to stuff them. But I'll probably chop them up and add them to the salad, if I had to guess. But now, little old plant hasn't done well. If you look at this one, you know it got all the same treatment as these bells over here. Yeah. And I'm thinking the Gypsy just didn't like the environment. Ooh, I gotta find something to blow my snot. So hold on, y'all, while I find a Kleenex. Well, we're over here now by a couple of our cantaloupe plantings that we've got over here on the back fence. One's in a pot, which I'm thinking needs some water. Yeah, hard to believe with all the rain. That's one thing, if you're growing in containers and they're well drained, like I tend to make mine, yeah, they don't take no time to dry out. And then the vines will suffer. Of course, now this is in the blazing heat, so it's suffering because of the blazing sun as well. But we'll get some water on it, right directly. Now if you look through there, you'll see a rather large cantaloupe that somehow got over on the ground there. I don't know if it fell off the vine, if something picked it off. Now I ordered some fruit bags to put over some of these to help support them. You can see here's another nice cantaloupe right here. And there's all kinds of babies. There's one. There's more. They're all throughout here. If you just look as we slowly preview them. Then here's another one, getting rather large. Now something else I've been seeing has been another type of little caterpillar worm, and we call them pickle worms. Yeah, I've seen some pickles, you know, cucumbers, not only the pickling variety, but also a salad variety that has these little tiny holes in them, and little pus coming out, where the little worm has went inside my cucumber and set up a homestead, pretty much. And they will attack squash, muskmelons, cantaloupes, and watermelon too. I've yet to see them on my cantaloupes, but in years past I have. But you can see right here, and this is a good example. These cantaloupe vines, 2 of them, are in the native soil, which is still nice and dark and fairly moist from last night's rain. And it's not limping and wilting so badly as the container is, which received the same amount of rainfall but is already dried out. Herein why I'm not such a big fan, especially this far in the deep south, of the temperatures we have of raised beds. They have their pluses, but they also have their minuses. And one is they are water hogs. Been there, done that. That raised bed where I have the peppers, squash, and tomato in, oh, it takes way more water than any of my in-ground plantings. As does the little garden bed up on the northeast where we have the okra and cucumbers. Yeah, it's the same. And the truck planting, truck tire planters, oh Lord. We'll be looking at them at a minute. They also, sometimes twice, if not 3 times a day, when this blazing sun is out upon the land, as it is right now. Well, I'm going to take a pause and go get some water and give these a little drink. If y'all want to help, grab a watering can, fill her up, and lend a hand. Well, at least the sky is starting to get a little bit partly cloudy or partly sunny, depending on whether you're an optimist or pessimist. Well, let's head on down to the truck tire planters and see how our 2 plantings are doing down there. And we've got some more pumpkins down there as well. You can see them running along the south side fence right there. That's actually 2 plants. And they're looking fine. They're not going in the direction I wanted them to go. They're headed east. Mr. Tom, he wanted them heading west. But every time I put them that way, they decided to come back and go this way. So finally, I just gave up and let them be. Let them go where they can. I guess they want to go up there and chit-chat with the acorn squash and the cantaloupe. Makes sense to me. Maybe at night when I'm not around, they're having some type of veggie party that we don't all understand. It could be, right? But no sign of pumpkin yet, but that's okay. Halloween's quite a ways off still. We got time. Wouldn't that be neat? If we had some pumpkins for the kids in the neighborhood to carve a jack-o'-lantern this year. Totally free, of course. That'd be nice. Rather amazing. And a neighborly thing to do, I'm thinking. Yeah, I haven't seen the first pumpkin. I see what's forming up to be many, many blossoms. So we got hopes. Threw down some cardboard there because of having a problem with those chamber bitters growing up. That's one thing that will get them, smothering them out. That's about it, other than herbicide. But you can see out here in the blazing near midday sun, I think it's around 1 p.m. right now. Man's time, 12 God's time. Yep. The table ace acorn squash from Haas Tools is wilting a little. Now we did take a short break from the time we were up there by the cantaloupes, by the back fence, to here to water these. Of course we had to water the cantaloupes, as I was going to tell you. And we watered these, the other truck tire planter with the cantaloupes, and the 2 pumpkin plantings behind us. But you can see right there, there's the starts of a nice looking acorn squash. There's another younger couple right over there. Yes, sir. And many more. If you look up in here, smaller ones. And I've been noticing the bumbles. Yeah, they're loving these table A squash. They love the cantaloupes too. If nothing more, I'm keeping the bumbles in pollen. Let's see up in here. Oh yeah, there's one right there. But I see it's got a problem. Might as well take it and get rid of it. You see it right there, that little hole? And that little bit of brown now pus below it? That's those pickle worms I was talking about. That tiny little hole was drilled in there by a pickle worm, and they'll grow and they'll feed on the inside. And when they're ready, they'll come out and metamorphosize into a moth. Yeah. So we're going to lose that one. We're going to go ahead and we'll clip it off later this evening or in the morning and introduce it to the worms in our compost pile. But there's another nice one right over there, so there'll be more. And I am seeing some droppings from what appears to be caterpillar. And look right here what I found. See right there? See the eggs? Not sure what kind. Maybe squash bugs or some type of caterpillar. But they all had to go away too. Might be for armyworms. Darned if I know. Because I seem to be plagued with them at the moment. But overall these plants look rather healthy. Other than they are doing a little bit of wilting in this midday sun. And I saw a cantaloupe down in here. Yeah, there's one right there. Yep, and it's been hit too by 2 pickle worms. Look at there. One right there and one right there. See the holes? That's them. Darn it. We got another right here. I don't see a pickle worm, so I'm going to bag that one. That one there will go away. And see, that's the way it is this time of year. Everything wants to eat your food. There's a nice one right there. Let's go around and look at that one. It's right here, underneath those leaves. this fence is hot enough to scald you. Let's check down in here. It was here somewhere. Right there it is. Ooh, that's a nice looking one too. I don't see no damage. Don't see no damage yet. We'll get a bag and slip over it. See if we can't save a few this time. Look at here. These have already been got. You see? Casualty of the war. Gardener versus the worm. We'll let the mower get that. Oh. But you have a choice to make. Yeah, you can use organic methods. Some will say dimaceous earth. I've never had a lot of luck with that. Not this far south. Some will say neem oil. That too doesn't seem to bother my worms too much. The BT would be good. What it is it's a bacteria, a natural bacteria, that literally makes caterpillars sick when they eat something that's been sprayed with BT. Bacillus thuringiensis, I believe is how it's pronounced. Oh, well, maybe we'll get a few cantaloupes. As you can see, there's literally hundreds upon hundreds of blossoms. And like all things, you know, the caterpillars, they come in waves and they head along their way. What I found in some of my studies is they actually migrate sort of kinda like birds. Yeah. Or at least they start in the south and they head their way to more northern territories as the year progresses. Ooh, it's getting toasty. And I'm getting damp and glistening all over. Yeah, it ain't no fun being out here in this scorching sun. But if you're gonna keep it alive in the deep south, you gotta be. And that's one thing I'll bring up right now. Yeah. Think about all the farmers. They can't be inside enjoying the AC. And not all tractors have AC. None of mine ever did. Yeah, and it was brutal. Let's see how brutal the temperature is. 90 degrees, 65% humidity. Officially at the carport weather station. Here in my little piece of paradise in the deep south of Alabama. So the only thing we have left to check, no, we checked, they got water, food, yep, still got some. It's a south side garden bed. You know what we learned about beans, pole beans, climbing up steel pipes and poles? Yeah, they don't get a lot of traction. And once they get so far up the pole, they slide back down and huddle on the ground. Hey, there's a penny. Never know. It could be a lucky one. Ain't much left of it though. So here is the south side driveway garden bed. This one, it is probably, other than the tire planters and the old raised bed, this one has struggled more through the heat wave and drought than any other. Still got our little lonesome bean plant that we planted there. We have our crookneck squash, 1 or 2 here, which you can see just so happens to have another really nice crookneck squash right there. Of course, now, you know, I can see we're going to lose the female squash up there because they're already starting to wrinkle up. And the blossoms haven't opened. That's what I've been trying to explain to people. If you look up on the internet for your squash, cucumbers, or what have you, shriveling up and dying and falling off, number one, by the millions, people will tell you lack of pollination. But I keep trying to tell people, these haven't even got to the point where they open the blossom. Therefore, it ain't a lack of pollination, because it can't happen yet. This is heat stress. After hours of research, I finally stumbled across that being the case, you know, by a university. And I would agree with that. Now, I'm no agronomist, you know, agro-scientist, but from my observations over 60 years, I'd say that'd be the reason. And finally, our celebrity here. This is the last one we planted. We stuck it over here in the south side driveway garden bed. And forever, never had blossoms. And therefore, never had fruit, tomatoes. But as you can see, we now have tomatoes. And overall, it's looking mighty fine. There's another tomato right there. And there's all kinds of blossoms. But granted, what is it? August the 7th? Yeah. August is notoriously our hottest month, next to July. So I'm wondering just how many of these blossoms are going to turn into tomatoes. But for right now, as long as I keep this watered, I've got the potential of having 1 plus 3 more, making 4 tomatoes. I think I got 4 or 5 up on the other planting where all the other celebrities are. Forgot to show you them. The beans, well, they're surviving. That's about all you can say. They do have some beans there. You can see one there. You can see one there. And there's others. I think between the 2 plants, we'll have enough for a mess here in the next day or so. Now here's our second crookneck squash. You can see right in there, there are 2. We'll just have to see how the other immature females up here, whether they can survive this heat. And when I say it's 90, you understand that's under the carport in the shade, solid shade. These plants, they're not out in solid shade. No, unless a cloud drifts across the sky and blocks the sun. So it's way more hotter out here. Way more. Where it may be 90 in the carport, it could be well over 100. And I've shown that. Up to 124 to 137. Right out here in this garden bed when the sun's beating down on it. Yeah. Think about that. And we water this bed 2, if not 3 times a day. Now, we didn't have to give it the water in the morning. We were saved. But it got its midday watering. Yes, it did. You can see where I left the hose. And here, where we got our 3, what were supposed to be burpless. See, burpless bush hybrids. There's only 3 plants here. See, 1, 2, 3. And they grew all the way up to the top of the roof. And now they're coming back down. And the older leaves and older sections of the vine are looking a little ragged. The newer ones are looking better. Nice and green. Yep, there's still cucumbers up there. I'm not sure you can see it, but there's one right there. And there's one over here. I'm thinking a pickle worm got in that one too. Yep. I'm going to lose a bunch to the pickle worms. Unless I decide to spray. The only thing to spray would be 7. And I'd rather not. It's not like I'm living or dying for cucumbers. These 3 plants have already given me probably, 60 or more cucumbers. Yeah. I've had plenty. But I am seeing something new, and I've seen this before. You see down here where I've trimmed all the leaves off as they aged and got sick? Well, some new has sprouted back out way down here at this leaf crotch. And I've seen that happen many times before. In fact, one year, I'm not sure whether it was 2018 or 2019, I showed you in a video how I pruned my cucumbers off. Of course, the channel didn't have many viewers back then, but the people that saw it thought for sure they died. No, they resprouted back. Not all of them did, but some. And you can see right here, here's some new growth coming on in that crotch. Here's some more. Here's some more. Yeah. So these will, if kept watered and fertilized, will resprout down lower, revine, and head back on up to the sky, if we so desire. But they weren't bush, were they? Yeah, maybe. They were very tall bushes. Just saying. And our pepper plants here, these are our bananas. We've been eating some of them. And you can see we got plenty more up in there. And these are just darn right sweet and delicious. Very happy. Continuing to produce. Continuing to grow. And even our lunchbox here. Just set some peppers here of late. Let's see. There's one right there. You see it? There's another right there. Another right there. Oh. Well, this gets back to sharing with the worms. There was one right there. And you can see a worm fed upon it and had its way with it. And it's probably in there right now, setting up house. Yeah. Well, it's going to get smushed and fed to the worms later. That's just part of it. You share with nature. Hopefully you get more than they eat. Unless, like I say, you're willing to spray. And so far I haven't, except for, fungicide, my H2O2. I have put down some copper fungicide as well, and some aspirin spray. But no synthetic insecticides. And I'm thinking that's how it'll remain for the rest of the season. So that's about it. I think you've seen it all. But let me show you one thing, because I talked about it. The bags for the cantaloupes. And you could put them over cucumbers, but they're rather large. Now I got the smallest ones I could find. Let me show them to you, okay? Over here we'll lay it on our field desk, i.e. the grass catcher, to our Troy built pony. You see, this is what they are. Yeah, they use these a lot over in Japan. Now, one smaller ones, about half this size. This is all I could find. I think about 50 bags for under 10 bucks from Amazon.com. And they have an opening with a cinch drawstring. You put them over what you're trying to keep bugs and worms off of, cinch them up. Then you can also use them to tie up to your fence or whatever to help support the weight. So I'm going to be trying these on some of the cantaloupe. Yeah, before they get the pickle worms. But I just thought you might like to see them. When I was over in Japan, first time back in '97, I saw a lot of these of all different shapes and sizes as we rode through the Japanese countryside on a bullet train. And I had to ask, what in the world was hanging on those trees? And they explained they were bags they put over them to protect them from insects and blemishes and such. Yeah, all the way back then. Whew. So there you have it, friends and family. And as you can see, you know, I'm getting a little damp. Got a little sweat running down the face. And the shirt's a little bit damp as well. Woo, even at 65%. With this heat, especially since most of what we walked today, better than half of it, was out in that blazing sun. But I forgot to show you my other tomatoes up here on the celebrities by the clothesline plant. Yeah, let me show them to you before the worms get them. We're going to bring them in tonight. You see them right there? Yep. Now, because of the way the rain has came and the way I've had to irrigate, yep, we've had a lot of this here cracking up on the top shoulders. They're still quite edible and still quite yummy. But it is, you know, cosmetic imperfection. And what I do, you know, this one here's got quite a few in it. Plus it's got Mr. Roly-Poly there trying to feast upon it. We'll get him out. I'll take them on in and let them ripen inside for the remainder. And yes, I already know totally vine ripen would be good, but I know with these cracks in them, and I leave them out here, they will get fungus among us and mold in the cracks, and they will rot. So we're not going to do that. And plus what I learned when I was commercially growing, everybody says store-bought tomatoes are picked green and then ethylene gas used to ripen them. Well, that may be true for some. But I know, like me and other commercial growers, we did what they called, we'd check our tomatoes when they were what was called pink ripe. Yeah, we'd cut them open when they were green. We knew about when. And you see, they'll start turning a pinkish red inside at the core. And then, you see right there in the center of the core? Yeah. And I'd jump all over my commercial plants when they were right like that. Because once they get to this, it's not the sunlight that ripens them. You can look that up. That's a myth. One of them urban myths. Of course, it was a myth way before there was urban. Yeah. That tomato will ripen up in total darkness. Trust me, it will. Try it sometime. So we're going to pick all them off. And they're not huge. They're about tennis ball, golf ball to baseball size. And that's about the way celebrities run. We're going to take them on in and set them on the counter where they can finish ripening up. And I just saw some more droppings from some more hornworms. So I know I got a giant one in here somewhere munching away. because I can see all his droppings right down there. You see them all? The little green morsels of poop? Yep, that's from him. And he's in there somewhere. And I gotta take the time to find him. Well, I still got some leaves and blossoms on the tomatoes. Could you see what they'll do? They'll strip every leaf off too. So I gotta send y'all along your way and get back to work today. Because if you're gonna garden, it never ends. It's like I said at the beginning of the season, once you start it, it's from that day on to the end of the season. So y'all, let me get back at it. Now if any of y'all want to help, you're more than glad to. You can get a bucket, put some water, a little dish detergent in it, and you can hunt for them and drop them in that if you don't want to do the quick way. Just saying. And hey, remember, it's the International Day of the Cat. So you need to celebrate your kitties and your furry friends. Well, the kitty furry friend. And that's what I'm going to be doing here a little bit later. Making something special just for them. So hey, until I, the kitty crew, you know, Cleo, Spooky, Speedy, Mr. Gray, Magoo, and sometimes Heathcliff too. And all of you, don't worry about Elrod. He's a house kitty down, 3 houses down. And of course, Gracing a little bit too. See y'all on the next video. Y'all stay safe out there. Stay cool. Remember to stay hydrated. Oh, and may God bless you as you bless others in your life. Till we see you again on the next video. Goodbye for now. Ooh yeah. I'm gonna go get something to put those tomatoes in. Now I gotta get a beverage. Man, am I out of Gatorade? I don't know. Oh, later on.